So let us look at the system of government in the Kingdom of Mali. The system of government in the Kingdom of Mali. So Mali had a decentralized system of government. That is, there was that power sharing, to say the other part was looked after by others. As we have already pointed out, that the generals, they were given authority to rule as governors in the conquered areas. So Mali was divided into two main political administrative units. So number one was the metropolitan. The metropolitan, it consisted of the state or the city-state of Mali, where the kings were living, or the capital city itself. Because we have said that Niani, or that is the capital city, it became to be known as Mali, as a city-state of Mali. And also there were the provincial states. All those areas that were conquered, there were also another part that were looked after by the generals. So those were the two divisions. So these ones, we talk of other territories that were controlled by the ministers as well as the councillors. So that was the division of this Mali kingdom, the metropolitan and the provincial states. Provincial states were looked after by the governors. These governors were mainly the army commanders or the army leaders. And the metropolitan, it was under the Mansa himself, under the leader himself. So that's how we should understand the organization or the system of administration in Mali. So let us look at the machinery or the system itself, the political system of administration, that how it was running. So we are looking at the machinery of political administration, how it was running in Mali. So what happened was that it was organized in this way, that the southern provinces, they were controlled by local rulers, because the subjects were submissive and loyal to the king. So all the provinces that were to the southern part of Mali or Niani, that one, they were controlled by the local rulers there. They were the ones who were given authority to rule, because all the people there, they were loyal to the king of Mali. And the northern part, the northern provinces, was controlled by the military governors. The reason was that the subjects were very vassal and troublesome. So the northern provinces, they were looked after by the military governors. Those that were sent to conquer, then they were said, go there and be the governors. The reason was that those people, they were military-like and they were troublesome. So because of that, they needed the military leader to lead them. And also Gao in the east, there was the province of Gao, which was to the east. It was controlled by the strong military and the battalion. There was also an army there, a strong military battalion which was there, because the subjects were resisting the emperor's rule and were not submissive. So the people of Gao, they were denying to be under the king of Mali. As a result, the king himself, he sent an army, a strong army there, to go there and stay there, so that they put still that area under the leadership of Mali itself. And also the provincial governors, they were reporting at Niani to submit the account of tax collected, and to give the report of their administration in general, and report on conditions in the provinces to the emperor. So we see to it that the provincial governors that were stationed in different areas, they were now and again or frequently reporting to the emperor at Niani, or at the capital city there, so that they give an account of the taxes that they had collected, and also how their governor or their provinces were flourishing. So they were now and again going to the king to report or to give account of whatever was happening in their territories. The provinces picked their own governors. They were picking their own governors via their own customs, through their own customs, and the emperor was just approving uh, the the governor that has just already been appointed or chosen by the people in that province. So the governors were called Diamani Tigui, that is provincial master, Diamani Tigui. And the Kun Tiguis, the Kun Tiguis were what that is at the village or town or city. The Dogu Tigui, the village master, was selected from the bloodline. So at the village, town, or city, the leaders, they were chosen through the bloodline to say, all right, if the father was the leader, then the son, like that, it was like that. So the country master was called Kafo Tigui was selected by the governors within the circle. So the leader or the country master, he was selected by the governors, a council of governors. They were there to select the topmost leader. And the payment of payment of officials, we have also to look at that one as how the government ran or its machinery. So officials were well paid in gold. They were also paid in horses and land. So those were the payments of the people who were working in the government. So the outstanding leaders, they were honored and rewarded by Mansa Musa. So the leader, or all those leaders who showed that they were good leaders or the outstanding ones, they were also specially rewarded by the king, that is Mansa Musa. Administration of justice, let's look at how were they doing that. So Mansa Musa ensured that no one received preferential treatment in the court of laws, whether the noble or the commoner. So there was equality, there was justice in the Mali Empire, whereby there was no biasness to say, oh, this one is the leader, this one is just a commoner. No. So to this reason, there were no discrimination. Properties of aliens were protected by the laws and customs. There was complete security and many others. And also on royalty and respect for the authority. So the subjects were submissive as well as respectful to the authorities. So the authorities, they were respected greatly by all the people at all the times. So let us look at the trade activities of Mali Kingdom, trade activities of Mali Kingdom. So the kingdom got a lot of wealth through the taxes collected from gold, copper, as well as salt. So the major trade items were gold, copper, as well as salt. And Ibn Battuta, remember we mentioned him. He was the Moroccan traveler who visited Mali at some point in time. So himself, he also employed slaves who carried goods for trade, but also traded in slaves. So, for example, his caravan transported about 600 female slaves. So, we see to it that he traded in slaves as well. So, apart from gold, copper, salt, we put also slaves as a part of the trade items. So let us focus much maybe on the major items. What were the major items that were used in trade that were used as the units of exchange. Remember, we are saying exchange here because the type of trade that was being conducted, it was the barter system, a system of exchanging goods. So the first one was gold. Gold, it was the main trading items all over the empire, but it was not valued equally in all regions. So it was exchanged with other goods. So we see to it that the gold was the major or the main trade items. So, however, in different regions, it had different values. It had not the uniform or universal value. So we see to it like that. So that gold was exchanged with other goods. And another item of trade in Mali was salt. So salt, it was as valuable as gold in the sub-Saharan Africa, because people, they needed salt for their diet, but it was extremely rare. It was scarce. So salt was another valuable item in the Sahara Desert or in Mali there, because it was so scarce. So it was also it had more value out the marketplace. Another one is copper. Copper was another trade item. So it was traded in bars, and was mined from Takeda. Copper came from Takeda in the north and traded in the south for gold. So 60 copper bars traded for 100 dinars of gold. 100 dinars of gold. So understand this now. They were trading copper in bars. They were the bars of copper. So 60 copper bars, they could exchange it with 100 dinars. A dinar is like a coin. So it was a gold coin. One gold coin, two gold coins. So there were 100 dinars, 100 coins of gold. They were exchanged for 60 copper bars. So let us look at the contribution of Islam. Contribution of Islam into the Mali or to the Mali kingdom. Number one is the education. Mansa Musa, he traveled or established Islamic schools, and he sent Islamic scholars from his empire abroad to pursue advanced studies. So when they returned, they became teachers and professors in the schools and in the colleges. So that's what happened. So we remember we said that Mansa Musa was the king or the emperor who made a pilgrim or a pilgrimage, a Hajj to Mecca. So when he went there and came back, he learned a lot of things. As such, he started sending some of the students outside to learn there, and when they came back, those people, they became teachers in his kingdom, in his empire, whereby they were teaching in the elementary or the primary as well as in colleges they established there. And another contribution of Islam is the architecture. So one of Mansa Musa's scholar, that was Al-Sahiri, introduced the use of bent bricks in building houses in Mali. So he built the famous bent brick mosque in Gao or at Gao and Timbuktu. So he did that. So bent bricks were introduced. So we see to it that the Bent Bricks Palace was also built in Timbuktu. So we see to it that there was the improvement in the way how the people were building their houses. So they also used blocks made from a mixture of rice husks, earth, and water that was allowed to ferment, and therefore the blocks were used to construct 4 stories buildings. So they were doing that one to say a mixture of rice husks together with mud, a little mud and the water. Then they fermented them. Then they were able to use those blocks as we use the bricks. So those things were used to build the stories. As you know, the stories, they do better if you use the light materials as the house goes up. So they were building, here we are saying that they built up to 4 stories, the upstairs going up to 4 stories. So the spires were topped with the ostrich eggs to symbolize good fortune and fertility. So what happened was that after building those upstairs up to the topmost level, so the topmost level, that's what is called the spires. This topmost level, there then they used to put the ostrich eggs there on top there, and those ones, the ostrich eggs, were put there to symbolize that there must be good fortune as well as fertility in that area or in those houses. And another contribution of Islam is the administration. So Islam brought good administration to Mali during the reign of Masa Musa. So Masa Musa, remember his journey to Mecca. In that journey, he learned a lot of things in that he wanted at least to impact or to effect everything that he learned outside immediately in Mali. So he wanted to put into practice everything that he learned when he was in Mecca. So let's look the important effects of his pilgrimage to Mecca. So what was the importance of his journey to Mecca? Number one was that Masa Musa's own faith and zeal increased remarkably. So his faith now increased. So he became a more Islam or Muslim than before. And again, he purified the religion in the empire. So he managed to purify religion to say, now we're going to practice pure religion just as it is in Mecca. And also, he promoted Islamic learning. So he promoted people to venture into learning. And observance of the rules of Islam increased the prestige of Masa Musa. So with his journey, when he came back, he emphasized on strict observance of Islamic rules in his empire. So those were some of the effects of the journey to Mecca by Masa Musa. Now let us look at the factors that led to the decline of Mali Kingdom. So Mali Kingdom at one point in time came to an end. So we are going to divide these factors into two, the internal as well as the external factors. So let's start with the internal factors. What were the internal factors that caused the decline of Mali? Number one was the weak and incompetent leaders. Weak and incompetent leaders. So after the death of Suleiman, there were two men ready to rule over Mali. So Suleiman's son, who was named Kamba, and Masa Musa's grandson, who was Marijata. So the army was split in civil war, and the royal clan was also divided. So we see to it that there was Suleiman, who was the leader. So Suleiman was just a good leader. He was an effective leader, just as Mansa Musa. But we see to it that after his death, then two people emerged to take over. One was the son of Suleiman by the name Kamba. The other one was Marijata, the son of or the grandson of Mansa Musa. So there then, different people or people supported different sides there, just as it is when there are two political parties. Usually people are divided. Even in the same house, you find that the father supports the other party, the mother supports the other party. That's what happened here. So even the people of Mali, they were splitted into civil war. Others they supported Kamba, others they supported Marijata. And even the royal houses, the royal clans, they were also divided to say, no, we go for Marijata, we go for Kamba. As a result, things did not go on well. So later on, peace was restored when Marijata became the king in 1360, between 1360 and 1374. So after all was settled, it happened that Marijata, the grandson of Mansa Musa, became the next king of Mali. So he was there between 1360 and 1374. So he was a greedy despot like his grandfather. So he himself, Marijata, he took the behavior of his grandfather, who just wanted to rule despite disregarding maybe other rules there are maybe prohibiting him, or maybe without maybe following the rules of the tradition itself. So he was somehow greedy despot. So to be despot is somehow to disregard the established norms. So that's why we are saying that he was a greedy despot. He was just ruling by disregarding some of the established despots or established rules. As a result, that one is a weakness, because we see to it that he was unable to follow the norms of or the traditions of the Mali people. Another internal factor is rebellion by the vassal states. Rebellion by the vassal states. So due to expansive Mali, each state wanted to be independent due to the weak central authority. And the first to do so was Gao, which was Songhai. So Mansa Musa took two princes of Gao, Ali Kolen and Suleiman Na. So he took them on his way back from Mecca. When he was coming back from Mecca, when he visited Songhai kingdom there, he took the two princes with him as hostages. So he took them as hostages. So the two princes, they escaped from Mali and organized a successful rebellion and drove out Mansa Musa's army. And the people of Teku followed suit. So we see to it that the people of Gao, they rebelled. So why did they rebel? We are connecting it to Mansa Musa to say when he went to Mecca, on his way back, he visited Gao, which was the Songhai, a kingdom that was on its own, although later it was defeated. So he took two princes there to show that he has defeated Gao, he has defeated Songhai. Now, those princes, when they were brought to Mali or to Niani, the capital city, later on they escaped. And when they went back to their country there, to Gao there, they organized a rebellion now to say, all right, much as Mali has said that he has conquered Gao or Songhai, therefore we are going to be independent. So Gao started to be to stage a rebellion, and therefore they were independent. So after they did that, then others now they started to follow. Other states also started to follow to rise against Mali. So let us look at the external. What were the external factors that led to the decline of Mali? External factors. So jealous neighbors took advantage of the growing weakness of the empire and attacked Mali to gain the territory and share its wealth. So we see to it that when Mali grew to its peak, when trade was flourishing, because we have said that it grew as a trade state. So they were emphasizing trade. Even the territories, we have said that the territories that they were conquering, they were the territories that they saw to it that they were profitable. So other neighboring countries, they were so jealous to say, look at the wealth that is flourishing in these cities of Walata, the cities of Timbuktu and whatever. So they were jealous of that, and they were really planning hard to say, all right, one day we need to capture some of these cities and belong to us and share the wealth that is in those cities. So who were these jealous neighbors? Number one, they were the Mosi. So they attacked Timbuktu in 1333 under the reign of Mansa Musa. So during the reign of Mansa Musa, that's when we said that Mali was at its peak. Mali was at its peak. Then the Morsi, they came in 1333 and attacked during that time. So they were later repressed. They were put back. They were suppressed. And about uh, 1400, they made another destructive attack on the empire. So in 1400 AD, they also came back and they made also another destructive attack on the Mali kingdom. So we see the Morsi, they struck twice. At first, during Mansa Musa, they were put down. But in around 1400, they came back and destroyed some of the places. And another jealous neighbors, they were the Tuaregs. So under their leader by the name Aki Lagi Marwar, they took Walata and Timbuktu in 1433 and 1344. So in 1433, 1434, the Tuaregs, they came in because they were envying the cities of Mali to say they were so wealthy. So if they attack it and grab the wealth, they would be so happy. So the Tuaregs, they managed to do that in 1433, 1434, and they came to Mali and grabbed Timbuktu and Walata, and they became their cities. And also Songhai attack. Songhai attack. Remember, Songhai is the part which is called Gao. So in 1468, Sunni Ali of Songhai started the raids on Mali. So Sunni Ali organized the people of Gao or Songhai. He organized them and they started to raid Mali. And also in the French colonization was another external factor that led to the decline of the Mali kingdom. So Mali disappeared from the map from about 1670 onwards because it fell in the hands of the French. So from around 1670, then all that territory, it fell under the French. It was not only Mali, most of the West African countries. So there were no demarcations to say Mali starts from here, stops here, nothing like that. It was all the area of the French. So with that then, Mali disappeared from the map. There was nothing like the empire of Mali. It disappeared completely because all that region, whether there was Gao or the Songhai, whatever in West Africa, it was all dominated by the French. It was the French West Africa. So that's how the Mali kingdom came to an end. So to this far, we have reached the end. We have come to the end of this topic, whereby we are looking at the Mali Kingdom in West Africa. And we have looked at a number of issues, the origins of Mali and how the factors that led to the rise of Mali and the organization of the kingdom, how it was managed, how the kingdom or the power was shared in the kingdom. And we have also looked at the prominent figures there, such as Sundiata, Sundiata Keita. And we have also looked at Mansa Musa as the big leaders there. We have also looked at some of or the contributions of the Muslims or Islam to the development of that empire, that is Mali Empire. So we have looked at a number of issues and we have finalized by looking at the factors that led to the end or the decline of Mali Kingdom. So it has been really a wonderful topic whereby it has given us a glimpse of what happened in Central Africa. We have looked at the aspects of trade, the aspects of religion, how they managed, how it managed to advance the civilization or the kingdoms in West Africa. So in here, the questions as we have come to the end. Just as usual, we do this exercise at the very end of every topic. So I have some questions here. The first one here says, mention the two factors that gave rise to the Mali kingdom. So it is just a straightforward one. And the second one here says, in what two ways did Mansa Musa contribute to the growth of Mali? And the third one says, how did the outbreak, or how did the breakaway of the vassal states affect Mali? And also, mention two trade items in Mali. Mention the two trade items in Mali. And also name the Moroccan Arab traveler who described much about Mali. So who was this Moroccan Arab traveler? Who was this one that traveled to Mali and talked much about it? And you know, as usual, I usually give you an essay. So in an essay, usually you have to handle it systematically, just like an essay. Now, up to this time, you know now how to write an essay. So do the same. Do the same. The first one, there are two essays. The first one is start with a statement. Mali would not have existed without trade. Do you agree? Do you agree to this? So you should write the three paragraphs, only three paragraphs, and each paragraph should discuss one point. Write only three paragraphs discussing one point in each paragraph. And the other essay question is this one now. This one is very straightforward. Discuss the factors for the decline of Mali. Discuss factors that led to the decline of Mali. So this is the work that you are going to do. A very straightforward, very simple thing. But mind you, don't just leave it like that. This is very, very useful. This is very, very useful, I tell you, because it will put you somewhere to say, are you able to find the answers in the things that you have? Because you may have books, you may attend classes, you may listen, and listen, but then are you able to answer questions at the end of attending class, at the end of maybe studying? Are you able to answer the questions correctly? That's why there is money at the end of it all. So make sure you don't jump this one to say, I know this, I know this. Whether it's simple or straightforward, write it, put it on paper, and send it to me. I will mark and give it to you so that you will see that sometimes you may say that you know these things, but the way you are going to answer them, they will be very, very different from the required answers that are needed. So that's why don't jump this part. Don't jump this part. Make sure you do as usual. Take pen and paper, write them, use your best handwriting, and capture that one using your phone, or maybe you can scan and you send it to the WhatsApp number that is here. So you just send it there to that WhatsApp number that is to me direct. Therefore, I'll do the same. I'll mark your work and send you the feedback. If you have the privilege of an email, you can send via the email. I have this email here just for you to send. If you have the email address, then I'll also do the same. So our work continues. Our work continues because now from West Africa, we are going to East Africa. So in East Africa, we are going to look at a very, very wonderful topic again, and this one is the Buganda Kingdom. The Buganda Kingdom. So this one is another interesting kingdom whereby we are also going to look at other aspects of a civilization, aspects of coming together, people living together under the leadership of some people. So we are going to look at who were the leaders, what were the factors that led to the rise of Buganda, and how was it organized, and how did this Buganda kingdom came to an end. So it's good to know this. So Buganda in East Africa is our next topic. So be there. So you know what? This one again, this Buganda is also there on the DVD. So what is needed is, as you have finished the Mali Kingdom, as you have answered those questions, the next thing to do is pick up the phone and make that call, because I'm always there waiting for your call so that I give you the next topic. So the next topic is Buganda. So until next time, Thank you for your participation.